Well, folks, the so-called government shutdown came to an end. But let's be honest, most of what shut down wasn't the government our founding fathers intended. It was the sprawling, predatory bureaucracy that's been holding America back for decades. And frankly, we'd be better off if a good chunk of it stayed shuttered permanently. 43 days. Longer than the biblical floods. Longer than Christ's temptation. Longer than Moses on the mountain. The longest shutdown in U.S. history. And what did we learn? The wilderness showed us the way forward. Less Washington. More freedom. Now, I know some of you are still dealing with flight delays because air traffic controllers aren't fully back yet. Even with the shutdown over, the FAA says restrictions will continue until staffing returns to normal. I get it. That's frustrating. But here's what burns me up. If air traffic controllers were privatized, they'd already be back. When private companies have disruptions, they never leave. They work through the night. But government workers, they're taking their sweet time because you can't fire them and you can't choose a different FAA. I'm hearing from folks everywhere saying, screw it, to Thanksgiving travel. They knew even after the shutdown ended, it would take weeks for government to crawl back to work. No urgency and no accountability, just your tax dollars failing you during the biggest travel week of the year. Although for some of you, missing Thanksgiving might be a blessing. We all have that relative who can't get through turkey without Trump derangement syndrome. Dr. 4G Dave has something special coming about that. Stay tuned. Elon Musk's audit already uncovered untold billions in government waste. Don't you think a fraction of that could have kept air travel running smoothly while we worked on privatizing it? After all, who's got more motivation to keep planes flying safely? The airlines themselves or Washington bureaucrats counting their union hours? Let's talk about what we learned during this shutdown. Did you know that more than 10% of Americans are on SNAP, better known as food stamps, and that a lot of those recipients just arrived here in the last year or two? Maybe that explains why your grocery bill is still through the roof. With so many transactions at the checkout being fully subsidized by Uncle Sam, it distorts the entire market. Time to roll that program way back before it collapses under its own weight, and brings us all down in the process. And while we're on the topic of government bloat, the founders never envisioned this massive leviathan we call the federal bureaucracy. Democrats even wanted to extend free health care to illegal immigrants as part of this shutdown debate. That demand alone kept this circus going, longer than any other in U.S. history. Think about that. A shutdown, prolonged because one party insisted taxpayers foot the bill for people who aren't even supposed to be here. Meanwhile, Congress kept working, judges kept working, President Trump and his administration kept working. Yes, President Trump, who doesn't take a dime from us, by the way. So were we really shut down, or just watching the gravy train get shut off for bureaucrats and their cronies? I think you know the answer. So what now? It's time to demand that Washington spend drastically less. Let's start with 50% less, because I don't know about you, but I barely noticed the government was gone for 43 days. That should tell you something. Let's start privatizing more of what goes on at our airports, in our skies, and across our industries. The less the DC fat cats can use to hold us hostage, the better.